Hello and welcome to this session of the Veil Inheritance. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and we are on planet today. They are at Namu Station, and they have arrived with a couple of things they want to do. They've done part of it. They've already delivered this strange object that was requested by their kind patron. And they have another task on hand, which is to take on, or rather take out some memories from some people who work for the corporation that they are dealing with, Orage. And as well, we know that for our dear captain, he's gotten information, Rafe has gotten information that the people that came after him the time before last, they flew out of this station. And of course, then Orage is the company that is associated with Dame Sosito. And Vic has also noticed a certain amount of familiarity to the scenes around here. And it is a water world for Annalise. So, Annalise, I'm going to start with you. What are your questions like this time? I like, we got a nice setup here. And actually Forte, not Annalise. I meant to say Forte with the water thing. But at least you got a nice a distribution. You don't have anything too heavily spiked. You're no Vic, but you got a nice spread of those things. So what do you think are going to be your questions for tonight?
So the first question for tonight, I wrote at the end of the last session, which is with Miranda being an orange space with Dame Acito, does this interact with the scientist experiments that we are clipping? Do they have their fingers in it? Is she aware of it? Is this one of her projects? Because she's known to do that kind of thing. That's my short-term question.
Okay.
The other questions are, how many others donated their memories to become me? And I think that's a still good one. And once a person is clipped or killed, how do they get reborn in pieces and new personalities? And I think we're going to see some clipping tonight, so I think that'll be good too.
Excellent. And did you get an advance last time?
I did, and I took the memory house.
That's right.
Which is when you recall a memory, you have perfect recall of it and can interact with it as though the stimuli were present in the current moment.
Excellent. Yeah, we definitely want to play with that. Do you have a start a session?
I do. It's the wired synapses.
Okay.
So I roll without adding a state.
Okay.
And I rolled an 8, which means hold 2.
Okay. Excellent. Let's come to Victoria. Vic, it looks to me like you have both joy and power spiked.
I know it's exciting and usually something not really possible in the Veil, but here I am anyways.
I am loving it. So tell me about your questions.
So my questions, my short-term one is, how does Orage run their territory, which seems to be it seemed to be a lot of this planet, but definitely the spire that we're on at the very least.
Yes.
And you know, it's a bit expansive from that, like, what does Orage do? What is Romero's place in it? Like, we've only very superficially interacted with them, so digging into more of their business might be fun. Character level, where's the love that lives in my memories, and do they still exist? Which we had some deja vu with really high up patios and platforms on these spires, orbital elevator sort of things. And then
and you've reached out to a contact who is working to pull out some things.
I do need to since I feel like we might be here for a little while, I probably need to get a call in to have it sometime this session.
Absolutely.
And then broad level, how are imprints assigned to people? Who chooses who's brought back from the digital grave? Which ties in nicely with Annalise's stuff.
Excellent.
I did get an advancement last time. I didn't get a new move, but for the first time, and I can't think how long in a PBTA game, I have a +3 stat.
You raised a stat that's unusual.
I know it felt dirty in a way. I may take it back. It may be the wrong choice. We'll just have to see.
Especially since you have 6 ticks worth of spiked out stats, which means you're going to be rolling at +1. That's all until you get all that cleared.
Well, until I get all that cleared. So we may get into some interesting and more dramatic ways to clear that.
Yeah.
Just so I can get myself to a 3 stat.
Yeah, roll at a -2.
It'll just be fine. It'll be fine.
Let's go on to Forte. Forte, tell me where you're at.
Let's see here. I think with my questions, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing right here, here's water. Those platforms look familiar. So the question is this the place? Is this the water? Is this it? And that's what she's going to be trying to figure out. And then what is it that makes it so important to remember? And then I still think I'm going to stick with what does Forte know about the Veil that others don't seem to tap into.
I like that second one. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Excellent. And you're at 4 XP, so you are on the edge, on the
edge of-
cusp of an advance.
I know. All I have to do is, I don't know, fail more, you know.
We will do what we can to make that happen.
Okay, I'm good at failing. And I do have a start of session move.
Oh, do you?
So just, yeah.
What is that?
That move is called In Your Head. And it's you have someone else's memories and thoughts in your heads. At the start of the session, roll. On a hit, mark 2 hold. On a miss, mark 1 hold. Spend your hold 1 for 1 to interact with them to trigger a move. Or if they are a character from a previous game of the Veil, trigger one of their moves. That's a hard one to understand. So
Yes,
okay.
yes, a very classic Veil. So
It's a riddle.
It's a riddle.
Okay, so it says on a so just roll. There's nothing to it, right?
Well, it says when it says roll, it means roll with a state.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see what my states are. Let's see here. I've got anticipation, fear. I think fear, because this could be it, and if it's not it, it's going to be the most disappointing thing in the whole world. But I don't know why it is so important.
Roll fear and take a tick off of power.
Okay, yeah, that's complicated. I'll get to it in a minute. I gotta find the rolling.
Yeah, Lowell.
Yeah. Why?
I know how the system works.
Just let's see here. So here it is. Good. So 2d6, and I'm going to add 1. There it goes. There's a 6. I add 1. It gives it a 7. Not a fail.
Okay, you got a hold. You got
a hold.
2 hold. Yeah.
2 hold.
That.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, because it's on a hit. So that's good.
Awesome.
Then let us come to Wraith. Wraith, just as a reminder, Cry is here, is parked in a garage. I will assume that you've done some things to kind of keep that off the radar as much as you can.
Yeah.
So it's so that it's not going to pop up on anybody's heads up too much.
Yeah.
Also remember that all of you have little personal ships if you need to get around quickly. So Wraith, tell me about your questions.
All right. I haven't changed my first 2, but I have finally decided to change my third one. My first one is, what gift could I get for the crew to raise morale? My second one is, where did Cry and I go right after I left the military? And my third one is, what is the nature of vehicles that allow shepherds to communicate with them?
I like that. That is very interesting. You've got 6 XP, which looks to me like you need to take a move.
Yeah, I can't decide on
Can't
anything.
decide. Is that a can't decide if I can't find what I want, or there are a couple of good ones?
Yeah, closer to the first one.
Okay. Yeah,
But,
no, we had that convo last time. Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking and thinking, and I may cop out and just raise a stat. But for right now, it's sitting. I'm sure I will figure something out.
I think that is absolutely fair. Let us then come. The group has arrived. You have delivered the materials that were requested to be handed off by Frau Laurent. There was something of a strange reaction on the part of the person that you spoke with, but they headed out, and you had the sense that they were getting ready to distribute out these materials. And Vic kind of came to a conclusion that this might be something made to interfere with certain kinds of precognition or psychic abilities. So that's a thing that is going on. The particular thing that you have here as a job is that there is an Orage facility. There are a set of people that have parallel ident passes to the one that you were given. And those 3 people need to essentially be clipped to be wiped. And that is the job as it stands. So I will assume that we are in like the equivalent of the real sort of hotels by the airport, that kind of neighborhoods and bazaars and things like that. The area that has kind of built up to service pilots and transient people and that kind of thing. Given that, tell me, what is the sort of the look or the decor of this kind of place, given the way that this is set up, the nearness to the spaceport, but also the water world nature of things. I'm going to start, since it's a water world question, with you, Forte.
I think that one of the things that's kind of weird, considering the fact that there's sort of this floating cities and stuff underneath, is there's that most of the decoration here is a real romanticized version of ships on the water, and of kind of what do you say, like wind-based ships, with sails and things like that, as opposed to the clear motorized guttering, just get by things that you can see right below the spire. It's just very, very strange. And you don't see anything like those here. Maybe the very wealthy have them and go out on them and
on their luxury yachts. Yeah.
On their luxury yachts, yes. But they're all, those aren't visible. They're under, great big light floating buildings that are on the water. So
Wraith, we haven't really addressed this before, so I'll put this to you. What's the level of robotics that we see around here? Is it just automated machines, or do we see robots? What do we see here?
Well, that plays into something I was thinking of right there. Sherry, just to clarify, there was I don't know, my mind didn't completely wrap around everything you said there. This hotel is kind of tall ships, wood ships themed, right? Is that the idea? Okay. So I think circulating around, and to add to the atmosphere, we have robotic sailors and robotic ship officers, and they're kind of singing sea shanties as they walk around delivering your drink, or you'll get, you're headed to your cabin, hey, sort of things. But it's all in these robotic, and I think to kind of play with that airport hotel feel, they're a little threadbare. It's got
Yeah.
a little touch of the, Chuck E. Cheesiness of it.
You have the sense they're 30, maybe 40 years old, that maybe there used to be some call for this up another tier or two up, and they've gotten shipped down here. Even the sex bots, the pirate themed Jacks and Jennies that are here are a little unnerving here. The uncanny valley that you might see.
Hi, sailor.
Annalise, what is the thing that tells you that there's a certain organization to the local, like, crime gang, that kind of scene around here?
I think it's that just like, whenever we enter this the crowds where we see the robotic waiters and the sailors and all that kind of stuff, you can see that there's a movement in these crowds that's almost like schools of fish, that's like a current, and they are pushing away from certain areas. And you can see that those areas don't like to be, there's certain seedy areas of every city where you go and it's not the good side of the tracks, right? It's where where illicit deals are taken down and the street lamps are out, and this is the same kind of thing, except it's using the veil here to kind of push people away, like currents and, that kind of stuff.
Interesting. I like that. And Vic, what's the graffiti here in the Vale? I mean, there are systems coming to scrub away, but what's the graffiti? Is it political? Is it artistic? What's the theme or play here?
I think it's like escapist. In that there are like tags and murals that warp the local Vale around them and bring in like what would be like a salt breeze, or the sound of gulls, or like sunlight hitting in an area on the beach. And they're just like these little pockets in and around, especially like the dingiest alleys in Park, but it's like places you can walk through and just almost for a moment like you're at this hotel that's at an old beachside sort of thing.
Interesting. So you four will get checked in, get yourself settled, and the question is, how do you want to proceed now? Do the four of you want to like hit the streets to do research? Do you want to head up to Casey Arcology? Do you want to do a once around? What do you feel like when Captain? I always come to you when we come to these kinds of discussions.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to have to probably learn more before we do the mission. So it may be worthwhile for us to each do a bit of something individually. How does that sound to everyone? Do we feel like maybe a split up to investigate, or would we rather do something in duos or as a group?
Let's do it once around, and if you want to pull somebody into your scene, you can do that. The other person will still get a call, but let's start with that.
All right.
So because some of this revolves around the work that you're going to do, Annalise. I'm actually going to start with you. What is step one for you when you hit the ground here?
I think step one for me is I believe we have ident cards. Is that right? Like a
You
personal
have
ident card?
you have this ident card from Orage, and apparently it's matched to some other ident cards or pass cards that these people have. They don't have a particular identity, but they're apparently like access to certain place in the facility or something.
So I think I'm going to use that as a trace,
Mhm.
and I'm going to start tracking down these people directly.
Okay.
These
Then
scientists.
let us have you go ahead and roll that trace roll.
Yeah, and I'm going to roll that with joy because it's been a while since I've just cut loose and snuck around and found someone. So that's at a +1, and that would make me a total of 5.
That would make you a total of 5. So I think one of the things that as you're starting to do the trace, you will realize is that since you arrived on station, you thought it was some noise or something like just a local noise or some kind of background vibration. On the ship's engines vibrated at a particular frequency, so you're used to kind of adjusting to that. But you begin to realize that sort of in the back of your mind, in your implants and things like that, there's something whispering.
And it's a distraction.
It's a distraction, and you realize that it's communicating with the systems here on station. Like maybe identifying your presence here.
Like there's protocols I'm not aware of that are in the implants that they're starting to ping out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So I think that's something that I'm going to ask Forte about later because
Okay.
I don't have access to that, but maybe they can help. So I'm going to, say, okay, I've got a job and I'm going to go forward with that. So even on a miss, I choose 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to say, I think I'm going to discern the next step on the path leading to the current location
Okay.
where I'm tracing. So I think
And,
that would, yeah.
And what is the negative tag you're going to take for a while?
Yeah. Haunted is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you have the feeling that something is now watching you, hanging over you. You're haunted and hunted at the same time a little bit here.
Yeah.
But you will have the sense that while these ident cards aren't active, they have like to get in places in the facility, they clearly have some additional like factorials and bits that are running in them. And I think that will allow you to, confirm which facility these scientists are at. We'll see you have to take the elevator up a couple of levels until you hit this Orage arcology there. And it is a research facility, but it's also a public testing facility. This is where people can come. They come in through the back doors to do this, of course, to donate material, to biological genetic material, or to engage in testing. So you will be able to identify the center, and that possibly getting in through the testing side might be one way to get in, or maybe a hard break-in on the sciences side. It's a little more vulnerable because it does have a public-facing portion to it.
So you mentioned that there were biological things that were being traded here. Are memories also being traded, or is that kind of a different area?
You have the sense that they probably are, but not very well advertised. Like you're surprised it had like they're not talking about that, which makes you a little more suspicious. That maybe they're doing something with memories, but maybe on the more quietly.
So I think I get on the communicator and I let everyone know what I found. Like, this is the location, and maybe it would be best if we go into the public area. It's going to be easier to infiltrate. And I'm like, and I think they've got tracers on us because I keep hearing things kind of in the background. Do you guys sense anything?
Do I sense anything?
No.
Let's see here. If there's something that's transmitting, I think, and the thing is, can I think that I can use one of my moves from Digital Architect to take a look at this. So let me go there.
Is this There Is No Spoon?
It would mitigate a thing. So yeah, let's try that.
I think that's an interesting way to frame that out. I mean, that's
Okay.
clearly a combat move, but I think here we're actually using it to kind of negate a risk.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. Well, and
what does that look like when you go to do that?
I think that's her walking back, like, the veil's all around. It's got this faux sea shanty thing. There's lots of like stuff around. And what she does is she starts out by kind of in the area right by her, sort of stripping things out from her own so that there's no distractions until she just gets to the communication layer, and then she starts sealing it so that she can hear any pings that are going out.
Sure.
And then once she identifies those, then she can block them, hopefully.
Let's have you roll. What do you want to roll that with?
This is fair. I think that's a fair way to put it. So Annalise has spooked her. Even if it's not us, Annalise is feeling it, and that's not cool because she should be comfortable and easy with things. So this is me 2d6 adding 1. So it's 5 plus 1 is a 6.
But you didn't roll a 1, so it doesn't create an error for you since it's an imprinted move. But I do think when you kind of reach out to like try to mitigate that, you'll realize that it's kind of contagious. And you kind of reach out to go grab the signal, and the signal runs through your connection, and it jumps into your head. And you realize that you're transmitting slightly different, but you're transmitting it as well now.
Okay.
We'll come back to you.
I will say, that's contagious. So that y'all can hear that, but that's it.
Yeah. You think this is the kind of thing that you would put if you wanted to, like, you really wanted to trace somebody, and who, if they came into contact with people, close contact, it would jump over to them so that you could, if you couldn't trace the original, you could follow them through a secondary source.
Okay.
In some ways, it echoes a little bit of what Annalise herself does.
Yeah, I think I'll maybe go find Annalise since we're both contagious. You know, we
Yeah.
can be contagious together, right?
Yes. XP on a miss, though. Both of you get
Thanks.
XP. It's
Yay.
XP all around.
But that
Yay!
that gets you
means
to
I
level, right? Yeah.
Speaking of XP on a miss, Vic, what are you doing?
Hey, hi, things. So I actually I like Steven's idea of looking into memory market here somewhere around. And I have luckily a solid contact in that area.
Ooh.
So I want to reach out to Habit. What is planet to planet communication like? Is it through something of the veil? Because I know different places have different veils.
It goes through the system AI for that kind of thing, but it's incredibly fast. So because it's a sci-fi game, you're calling the station, which is orbiting another planet, but it's instantaneous. Pops up. I'm not done yet.
Not done yet? What, you figured since I'd be off planet, you could just laze around and take some other jobs?
There's a queue. There's a priority system for these things. You said you were leaving. It goes a little bit further back on the queue, but
Habit. If there is a priority, you must understand at this point, I am the priority. Aren't I loyal to you? Aren't I a loyal customer? Don't I treat you well?
Fair enough. Well, I'll get back to work then. And he goes to turn the comm off. Oh, sorry. Did you not want me to get to work?
Oh, well, of course I do. But if I'm being honest, I think your assumption that I was calling about that particular job speaks more to your guilt about shirking your responsibilities than it does to my intentions on the call.
Listen, if I want a therapist, I'll put 2 creds in the machine, all right?
Look, I'm on Miranda at
Ooh.
how do I identify the spire?
This is a Namu station.
Namu Station.
Oh.
Namu Station. And
Big
I was just
corporate,
wondering.
the high and the low. Where are you at? Are you down with the polywogs down at the bottom tier, or are you up in the skyline?
Of course not. I'm up in the rigging. Don't you expect that sort of thing from me at this point?
Me? What is it you need?
I just need a little connection, a little introduction to, let's say, your counterpart here on this station. I don't want some back alley memory jacker who's going to put in some biovirus along with it. I want someone skilled, not to replace you, of course. You're my favorite. You'll always be my favorite. But for some more local work.
I can give you a name, but you want to be real careful there.
I'm always careful.
No, you don't. Let me explain. That's Orage territory. And they have been known to take exception to people in my line of work, especially ones that get close to what they're doing. There's a lot of really sketchy rumors about how they work with imprints and memories.
What is it that they're doing that they get tetchy about?
That's not clear. There's rumors that the original slicer tool to cut memories into parts came from them, but that's not clear. But yeah, there's been a lot of rumors about that. I know a person, though, that you can talk to who can probably get you better info on the ground about what's going on there.
Perfect. That's all I want.
Sure.
Local memories.
Her name is Valeria Azizi.
And you can take a moment to put in a good word with Azizi for me.
As soon as we're off the call, I will call her and tell her that you will be coming, and I will explain the nature of our relationship.
You'll explain the nature of our friendship, our deep and reliable partnership.
Do you want me to vouch for you fully on this? Like, no questions. She'll trust you. Walk in. You can deal with her one-on-one.
I may be asking her about some sensitive subjects, so that would help. I'm here to tell you, I don't mean any trouble for her.
No. I will be glad to do that. But you're going to owe me.
Usual rate?
No, this is a matter of favors and obligation, my friend. Consider that I will take a marker for this.
All right. All
Okay.
right. Speaking to the depth of our growing relationship and looking forward to the quality work that you're doing on the assignment I have for you.
Yeah. What you said.
Just make the call and get back to your work, yeah?
Okay. And like a few minutes later, you will get a an encrypted blip feed that has a location, a time, and some recognition codes.
And I think Vic will, and she's going to make a stop or two first. She's going to take a little time getting there. She's not rushing off to this person.
Fair enough. Yeah, you've got
Make her
to.
wait a little bit.
Yeah, hedge your take a look around. That's all good. Wraith, what are you up to?
First off, I'm going to attempt to, I believe this is within the capabilities, kind of craft the veil around myself sufficiently that I look, a little different, just to, kind of bland myself out. Is that something I could do? I know it's not the extent that Vic can.
So yeah, you can go and buy a basic cover package and work with that, and then do some modifications to it yourself. Like it's essentially getting a little bit of a dress up set to change your thing, and then you add in a few more details on it to try and make it more of a disguise.
I'm tight on cash. I think I'm going to go the cheap route. I'm going to get a scarf and just wrap it around myself Bedouin style.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of try and move around and see if I can find these folks that were out looking for me.
Absolutely. Let's have you make a roll as we kind of hit the streets then. This feels like Lift the Veil.
Okay. And so I guess the only name I have is like Yama.
Yep.
So, all right. I'm lifting the veil and I'm feeling probably fear.
Okay.
All right. That's a 9.
So you will kind of ask around, check, and basically you're looking for some departures, some short-term departures, quick. you will check. There are several different kind of Merc, space Merc companies that work here. Some of them more freelance, like bounty hunters and things like that. Some of them more the people that corporations hire when they want to like do something nasty. This is the latter. And they're simply called Scope is the name of the group. But the person that is in charge is a guy named Nereus Begg.
Nereus Begg.
And it, like, when you hear that name, like that sort of echoes for you.
Nereus Begg.
Begg.
What does it ring?
Well, let me hang on one second. Let me get a picture for this, and then we'll talk about that. Oh, let's make him look dangerous. Here.
Just one G.
Here, we'll put, there's a dangerous looking fellow in the NPC tab for you. Oh, no, I already got used to use Baba Yun.
Yeah. That would be
Dun, dun,
fortunate
dun, dun.
and unfortunate, wouldn't it?
It's just such a good picture. So
It's a good picture.
let's give another one here. Let's do this guy.
Yeah, he looks kind of scary.
Like you have a feeling you served with him. Like it's that feeling like military something they a lot like you definitely at some point weren't enemies. But the thing that hits you like when you kind of go to grab at the memory of Begg and like what's going on with that, you will realize that like there's a gap, like a blank space where there's like a third person that you really can't remember. Like when you go to look at it, like you kind of concentrate, your just mind just turns aside.
Is this presence someone that like the three of us were together, or is this like a presence that's between us?
We're like you and they were together, and Begg maybe was a subordinate.
Let's see. Do I from this? Do I get an idea of where they park? Where their portage is?
Oh yeah, you can head up. There is the level that's sort of above the standard ship things where people that run outfits and teams and crews and space launches and things like that have their stuff. Light warehousing, but also essentially their office with their shingle out. It's equivalent of a big space Quonset hut, and then an airfield, and there's some stray dogs wandering around there, and a secretary.
I'm gonna head up that way then and really just sort of case the joint. I'm not particularly trying to encounter anyone, but I want to give a look over, maybe see if I see these ships, what they've kind of got there, and maybe people going in and out of their office sort of idea.
Why don't you make an analyze roll?
Righty, I shall.
What do you want to roll that with?
Let's see. think I'm kind of pissed off that all of these things all of these memory problems that are in my way, that at this point, I really do not understand where these memory problems are coming from. This should not be here. I don't have a reason to think I should have been clipped like this. So it's mad.
Okay. Let's have you roll.
Ugh. That's a 4.
There is that moment when you're walking around this field and things like that, and you can check out. It looks like their ships are, as you were told, are currently still off station. There is one ship. It kind of matches the group that you saw that clearly, was clearly not ready for launch, and it's there. You see that they've got a number of like crew that are there. A lot of them heavy prosthetics, things like that.
Is the Night Thief there?
The Night Thief is not there, no. But I think there'll be a flash for you as you see one of these guys kind of turning around, and you're going to take some humanity harm here.
Wugga wugga.
Because when this guy turns around, there is this moment that you have that flash of Cry firing off these weapons and a ship so close, and it tears open and you see people flying out into the vacuum of space, and you see this guy
As one of what's out in space.
Yeah, but he doesn't have prosthetics or anything like that at that point.
Okay.
So when you take humanity harm,
Yes.
let's go and look at that again. Because it's under you
And on the basic moves in the yellow column.
Yeah.
So you get to choose. You can lose time, trigger the flashback move, add a tick to a state, or take disadvantage forward.
Ooh, I want a flashback.
Okay, let's look at the flashback.
I will take 1 from a 2, so I'll take 1 into a spike. Or into, to state. To the stake, so it will go into my bat. All right.
And I think the thing that you really like you kind of stagger back as you get the full import of it. The ship that's blowing up looks like Cry. Like it's an identical ship to this. Like it's different. There are different pieces to it. It's slightly, but it is clearly in the same series. Clearly, like a sister ship. You know that you just have an absolute feeling of your good intentions have gone terribly wrong.
And I'm in Cry when this
Yeah. But Cry doesn't have these armaments that you know.
Right. In this flashback, can I feel Cry?
Yeah, I mean because Cry is the person who's kind of making this go. You don't want this to be happening.
So that's the state I get out of Cry.
Yeah.
Can I pull the emotion that Cry's feeling?
Anger.
And I think I'll kind of stagger back and like catch myself before I like make a bit of a spectacle and like lead into a wall and kind of.
Hey buddy, you okay?
Bad fish.
Oh, get the hair of the dog in and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Thanks.
kind of stumble off. Forte, you are muted.
Ouch, I say, ouch.
What is it? These have been delightful, delightful series of very bad rolls. No good, very bad rolls. What are you going to do?
It's interesting. So this is a sort of piece of tracer stuff. So the only way to make this not that harmful is actually to spread it all over.
Okay.
So I probably will go with max contagion, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. So what do you think that is to do that?
I think that's probably that, like the graffiti and stuff in the Vale, right? So
Mhm.
making something that people will it just catch their attention, and as soon as it does, they've got that message too. And I can leave a trail of those through all of the places that people walk. I will do it. Essentially, I will pick a place and start there and do it a bit.
Okay. What do you think it is to do that? Do you have a move that would be appropriate for this?
Yeah, because I have that one-for-one hold, so I could probably go to the data architect thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, oof,
Honestly, that sounds like, what is it, the aesthetic playbook?
it does. But you could do things like this. It's just that it's sort of, let's see.
If you want to spend a hold to pull on that architect past life,
Okay, yeah,
that seems reasonable. We'll have you make a roll for that.
okay. Sure, because there's a thing like I can change my appearance, I can change, the thing, you can do the design the digital lobbies, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So I'm sure I
Let's
can.
have you roll.
But yeah, you're right. Aesthetic is very strictly that kind of thing. Okay, so a roll. Well, there's a part of me that used to do this. So let's see here. What will I use? Why don't I give myself some help? Let's see here. Power?
That seems good.
Okay, I'll try that.
And if I'm not mistaken, Forte, you said that you came to find Annalise, so we
Yeah.
could be working together. So if you need some help, I can see if I can help.
All right,
Smart.
hopefully, thank you. Hopefully that won't happen, but I would like to make a roll. Because it's 2d6 adding 1.
Okay.
6 + 1 is a 7. It's like top of the line here for the evening.
So I think while it won't spread like beyond this level, I think you will contaminate like several blocks before like the Vale anti-graffiti, anti-change protocols, delimit where it's going to go. But essentially, there are a couple blocks worth of people that are going to be sharing that same trace tag.
Everyone they touch.
Does that seem fair?
Yes.
All right. Let's take our break here, and then we'll come back and see if we want to do another once around or we want to bring people together. Sound good? So let's go for 10. So do we want to do another once around? It seems like people have kind of still chewing on some pieces there. Let's start with Annalise and Forte together. Stephen, let's have you call the first half of this, and then later on we'll come back to Forte.
So I think so we have a lead on where we need to go
Yeah.
and probably a direction to go. So once we all get back together, I think we can discuss the infiltration there. I can't think of much more to help with that mission. So I think what I'm going to do, actually I want to have a conversation with Forte. So
Okay.
so this trace that you just spread around, is it something that is complicated, that's complex, or is it something that we probably just picked up in another system? I mean, what I'm looking for is, could it impede the mission?
It can make it easier to single us out if they get some wind of it.
Is there some?
Just because it's like having a green stripe of paint across your face that cameras will pick up, right?
Yeah,
You've just got this niggling little detail. Even what I've done is paint everyone with stripes, right? But
right.
it doesn't. But when we go into a new area, we'll still have the stripe, and I can try to replicate it again. But
So I think at that point, I think that is dangerous, especially for Annalise, who specializes in being a little bit more quiet. So I think I'd like to see if I can't find out more about the source of this and potentially help any action blocking it. So I have a move called Internal Archive.
Mhm.
I consult with accumulated knowledge stored in my person to answer a question, and I roll.
Let's have you roll. What do you want to roll with?
I'm gonna roll with fear because I don't like being spotlighted like this. I don't like being painted as a target. The hunter has become the prey.
Fair enough.
That is a 6 total.
I will help.
How do you help them dig in for those that accumulated knowledge? What techniques do you have that you're using to do that?
Good question. Let's see here. So, I think I have a lot of probe and analyze skills that I can use on people in a different way. I actually would, rather than helping Annalise so much, as I would give her more information by analyzing her to help her, get some ideas. So
Let's have you make that roll.
okay. Let's see here. What seems like a good one? I think, God, this is kind of worrying, isn't it? So maybe fear.
Okay.
Not panic, fear, worry. There we go. So 2d6 plus 1. 7 and 8, a stellar 8 to help.
So you will help, but also suffer the consequences.
All right.
So we bumped that up to a 7 to 9. I think that I'm going to give you this sort of in bits and pieces, and then I'll tell you about the danger now or later. So I think it is like you have another flashback to that facility, to there, and you almost see like a person that's there with you, that's kind of walking with you, and now you're kind of walking through the mindscape of this, and this person is going, I was one of the first to figure out how to do this, figure out how to follow through the digital web, through the net, to the archive in new ways, new paths, understand how to trace, how to see those signals, so on. And of course, whatever is in you from me, they took part of that and they took what I knew how to do, which is to lay a trace in someone at the very, very back of their mind, the very, very back of their being. And so when they came into a particular place, it would trigger and send a thing up. And they would have almost no way to detect that it lay there dormant for years. That's what you're dealing with. And I think we cut from there to a beeloop, 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 beeloop. Yes, Dame Cecita. Yes. One of the subjects has arrived on Namu Station. They're on the spire. Have you isolated them? We had them for a bit, but they seem to have done something to the trace. All right. Scramble the new hounds. Let them loose. Cut. Let's come to Vic.
So, Tyler, in all this, do you think Rafe would be interested in nosing around a memory market?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely am upset about my memories. I mean, I was probably going to dig further and deeper, as part of my conditioning, but for role play sake, I'd rather be with somebody. So if I know where you are, would you have said where you were going looking?
Yeah, I mean, once I got the memory set up, or the meat set up, I definitely would have reached out to see if someone could, accompany.
And we're connected anyway. We've got communications, and I could, if I may be thinking along the lines of learning more, you would be helpful in. So I'm going to, Vic, where are you?
I'll send you a ping. Just, try and keep a low profile on your way here.
No problem. And I'll make my way towards Vic.
And essentially, we'll arrive at the Neon Market. This is a almost lower deck kind of thing, enclosed. It's far enough down that the waves sometimes hit up against it, so you can hear the splashing of the sea. It is very much off the upper pylon grid. You probably have to pass through some of the sea workers areas here to get down to what they call the polywogs, down to this market that is enclosed, and it's, even though the ventilators are working like full tilt, it is still damp and humid and moist in here, and everything smells like salt.
And Vic has told you to keep a low profile and come sort of incognito. And I mean, you get there and she is in that like neon color shifting dress, which is like mostly shining yellows with like this core swirling pink bubbling thing.
Yeah, you get a lot of people looking at you like, is this person slumming? And is the bodyguard? What's going on here?
There's this almost kinetic hit every time someone's attention falls on her, as like a shift of color from them washes across and then fades.
Yeah. And everything here this is the only thing that's like more primary colors, because everything is that sort of neon pastels around otherwise. Eventually you will arrive at a chicken skewer place, and kind of come in through the beaded curtains. and make your way to the back to a table where you will see this 6'4" woman. Clearly had some cyber work done. To your eyes, you can tell that some of it's like, upgrades, but a lot of it looks like it's actually repair work to cover like damage and scars and things like that. Like there's sort of strategic neon lines and things, but that maybe to actually cover damage that she's suffered. And she looks up and she narrows her eyes and she says, "He didn't say there were going to be two of you."
Did he say there would only be one?
That was implied.
But not said. And here we are.
And one of her hands like falls down below the table level, Han Solo style. And you can tell that she's got her grip on a needle or something like that, but she gestures with her other hand for you two to sit down.
Vic will sit down very sort of primly with a pleasant smile on her face.
She looks up at you, Wraith. You gonna sit?
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you're sitting, this guy comes. He's got these algae paper plates with chicken skewers with like a satay sauce on them, and 4 enormous recycled paper cups of what looks like some sort of golden foamy beverage, and puts it down on the table, and then walks away. And she's like, "So you're Vic?"
You're Assisi.
Yeah. Habit speaks very highly of you.
He is a challenging broker to work with sometimes, but I find his professionalism wins through in the end. I think we've had a good relationship.
He hauled my ass out of the fire once, so if he calls in a marker with me, then I'm going to do it. Who are you? Looks at you, Wraith.
Just a friend. Wraith. That's my name.
So what do you need?
Well, I mean, we're visitors here in Namu, obviously. And
Yeah.
we just need a little bit better idea of the lay of the land here, especially in the archaeology sections.
Can you be a little more specific for me about what is it you want to know? Otherwise, we could be dancing around for a while.
I'd like to not be fumbling through the archaeology levels when we get there. Some expertise with navigating the area and the protocols.
There are a lot of archaeology levels. What are you talking about? What are you? Whoa. Sorry, these cats love that chicken. You gotta push them away. The fish market is closed right now, so they come scrambling to every other place around here.
Orage's level.
You want to be very careful around Orage. They do some really high level work, experimental stuff with memories, with imprints. When you take an imprint, it is incredibly difficult to copy that imprint. The degradation, one copy away, is heavy. You have to isolate key factors. You lose things, but the best people know how to keep as much as they can intact.
And they run the imprints around here.
Well, I have heard that they have real techniques, skilled techniques for modification of imprints, for hybridizing imprints. I also heard that they're not particularly picky how they've gotten their materials. I know that there are some old ways of doing things, and they've got some new techniques that allow for a little more enforced stripping without degradation and modifications, and they're working with some dangerous stuff here. Rewrites as much as anything.
That sort of work, hybriding and inserting, that would leave artifacts, yeah? Broken memories?
Yes, but they are very good at hiding those from the subject. They're very good at making changes. Like you can make changes. You can make small scale changes, and when you get pieces together overlap, they're going to naturally come together. Like if you take slices from 7 or 8 memory things on a particular skill set and you ranch them together, you're going to eventually get a gestalt. You're going to get something. Now, if you're good, you get a gestalt that's stable and not an unstable, like, a memory bomb. They are good at, supposedly they can take those pieces and construct something completely new. It's not AI, but they can create like a new person. They can stitch together the memories in a way that is organic and dangerous and purposeful.
But why? Centuries of human history and databases all over the galaxy. What could they be looking for that's new?
It's a corporation. It's all exploitation. It's all about that.
Ownership rights.
Exactly. Because here's the thing.
People that don't belong to anyone.
That's the thing. There is a certain amount of rights about memories and identity and personality that are held. They want something that creates something new, that they have absolute control on the personhood of the person that they create.
Slavery.
It depends on whether you consider, like, this is a new person. It's like a robot or, an AI or something like that. Now, if you read that as that kind of servitude, then yeah.
It's ownership, though, that they're wanting, eh?
Ownership is everything in a corporate world. They want ownership of everything, not just physical objects, but conceptual things.
And no one around here pushes back on that?
Well, I didn't say that.
Look, we've got some work to do on the arcology level.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting with and digging into some of those researchers. I need to be able to find my way around without setting off any alarms and knowing where I'm going. It sounds like you could use a peek into what's behind Raj's curtain.
Well, I appreciate the offer. It is not a place I want to stick my nose. I've put my nose in there before. And she kind of does the thing, repeats the gesture she's been doing throughout it, where she runs her fingers along the lines of the neon here. And she says, they took me apart. But I will get you what you need to get in there. If you have somebody that can do the hunting once you're inside, I will give you the pieces to get in through the door.
We can handle that.
Pardon?
We can handle that.
Okay.
So, what are you after?
I'm after paying my debt.
I mean, Vic honestly looks sort of shocked for a minute, like, and then almost like a tinge of fear as she's considering, like, wait, what sort of debt did I just promise to?
And she'll pull out a data card. She goes, there's some codes here. It should unlock information and some digital lockers for you that should get you the right passcodes to get in, some layout. This should get you into the workable part. Then once you're there, you have to do whatever you're going to hunt on your own at that point. But this should breeze you on in. We square?
All right. Vic will reach out to take the box and shake her hand. Yeah, square. As I
And?
want to try and absorb from her.
Okay, let's have you do that.
It's never the moment to do the thing, is it? It's
No.
never the moment. It's always so dangerous.
I know, but it is the thing that you keep building that up. You're rolling it just a +1 if you don't use something besides joy or power.
And I think even without the spikes, this would have to be power
Okay.
to try and sneak off the top of a memory broker. That takes some confidence.
Let's have you roll with a +1.
That's a 5.
Okay. Choose one. I think what you can absorb from her is fear.
That makes sense. I'd like her, and I would like to come back at some point. So I think I have to choose that she isn't aware of what I'm doing.
Okay.
But that means I don't get any flow, and I am like washed under her fear.
So you spike out fear.
Oh, crap.
Are you sure that's your pick?
Yeah, no, yeah, I like her.
What does it look like to Wraith when you when you touch her and your fear completely spikes out.
So there's this like wave that travels up from where Vic's hand is touching her hand across this dress of just like spiking rusty reds and browns that like pierce into the shining glowing colors, pop the little pink bubbles, and I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there is just this like line of sweat and perspiration that breaks out on her forehead, the back of her neck, as she like jerks her hand back with the keys that Zizi had.
And I think that as you had kind of reached out and, thank you, shaking the hand, I had kind of leaned in to say something to her. Ma'am, I was wondering, and then I see this reaction. I kind of hesitate a moment.
And Azizi says, yeah, the sitai is a little spicy.
Ma'am, I was just wanting to ask, should someone have their memory clipped? Is there a way, like, does that leave a signature of who did it?
I'm not a clipper, but clippers know a clipper. Talk to a clipper.
Yeah.
I trade and work and store and that kind of thing, but I'm not hands-on. Takes a certain kind of insanity to be a clipper.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Vic, you need some water?
We need to, no, we should, we have time to, we should go.
All right. Thank you, Bamba.
Yeah. Let's cut from there. We'll come back to get a Wraith called scene here in a moment, but let's come back to Forte. I think right now we're kind of on site with the two of you together, with you and Annalise.
Yeah, I mean, we've, so
You've taken care of the problem.
it's all fine. I think, though, that it probably behooves us to maybe create, how do you say, some future noise, should we need it to cover our tracks.
Okay.
So, I think maybe not future noise. It's the thing is so I got to figure out the best way. So I think I might just do like an analyze of this place to go.
Sure. Yeah.
When we come to get out of here, what can we do? What is going to be a place to throw up chaff?
Yeah, I think we get a little bit of the parallel of Wraith casing the airfield earlier, with you casing this place. What do you want to roll that analyze with as you kind of checking things out?
See, it's something she's good at, right? So that's power? I don't know. Probably power.
Okay.
I'm not, it's weird. I got fear and power on the opposite side, so it seems like I'm teeter-tottering, but that's not really it. It's just sometimes she's a little freaked out. Sometimes she's just doing what she's good at.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you don't.
It takes a special kind of insanity to do these things, right? Okay, so 2d6 plus 1. Repetitive jerk I am. Oh my God, look at that roll. It's a 12 roll.
A 12.
Yes.
Well, holy moly. you get to take +1 forward, asking the questions, and you get to ask 3 questions.
All right. Let's do this thing.
And I believe
So,
you have some stuff. Do you have something that, and you can treat a person. You can
yeah,
ask.
I could treat a person like with
Yeah.
analyze and have the +1.
Yeah. So
But
let's hear it.
so essentially it's going to go, what's my best way out? Yeah, essentially I might just ask those 3 questions: best way in, out, best way past. I don't know. But first, let's do what's
The
my best way
out
out. Yeah.
is going to be getting as quickly as possible to rimward, essentially, and jumping levels.
Okay.
Because the assumption there is that you'll move through, standard channels, the elevators and other systems like that. You need to have, either your ships in place or, a essentially bungee cable or something like that to rappel down.
Okay. Or a combination of the 2. So that sounds like
Yes.
fun.
Second question.
Which enemy is the biggest threat? Like, what things am I really having to worry about?
Wow. When those 2 teams of 3 leave out, a handler and a couple of people with them, and you can see that they've got some cyberware, but they've got enclosed helmets that are kind of mirrored finished, and the hackles on the back of your neck go up when these 2 teams come out.
Great. And then the question is, how are they vulnerable to me?
Well, I think there is a moment when you kind of are like following one of the 2 teams, and they move in like grid move out patterns. They're clearly sensing things. You like, okay, I got to choose one team or the other. You follow one of them, and I think there's a moment when you're watching them, and then suddenly their coordination is broken. Like they kind of go off in different directions, and then they kind of like have to stop and regroup. And what you're kind of looking around the area, and you realize that the path that they're going down, you see this person laying out these fortune cards out on the table.
Don't we have some of those?
You don't have one yet.
We don't have any of those. Okay.
No, but you see.
I know who has them though, right?
Yep. And yeah, that seems to completely disrupt whatever they're using to do their hunt.
Okay.
Does that seem like a fair answer?
No, it isn't at all fair, since we got it after we gave up those things. But I know the man who has that case, so it will be mine soon.
Okay.
So is that the person who was laying out the cards, or has he already handed
No,
those around?
he's clearly already gotten
Handed
some of these
those
out into
around.
distribution.
Okay. All right.
Wraith, let's come back to you.
All right. I think as we begin leaving, Vic, are you all right?
What do we know about this job? She was terrified of those people in Mirage. I never felt anything like it. I can still feel her wanting to run. I want to run.
Don't look so good, Vic. And I mean, we've been in tight places before. This is kind of what we do.
This is different. These people, they reach into your head. They reach into, I don't know, maybe everyone's heads.
let's go back to the ship. I think you need to rest.
No, 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 we can't go back to the ship. We can't go back to the ship. What if they're following us? They'll know where the ship is. We have to stay clear. We have to stay safe.
Vic, I mean, you're pretty noticeable. If they were gonna notice, then they saw you when you came out.
No, I'm rich. I'm careless. I'm stupid. I'm not paid attention to. This is Rafe. They could be anyone. They could be all these people.
We can't just stay out here, Vic. We have to go back, at least to our hotel room. Like I say, I think you need to get somewhere where you're not amongst so many folks. You're worrying me.
It's good. That's good. You need to be worried. You don't look worried enough.
I feel pretty worried. Vic, come on. Let's go back to to our sea shanty hotel. Get a nice sonic shower.
Fine. At least the robots there look like robots. They don't look like, and she's like looking from person to person on the street. They don't look like everyone.
And I'm going to send off a message to Forte and Annalise. We're heading back to the hotel. Vic's pretty worked up.
Oh, there's a couple of teams hunting us. Probably for something completely different. However,
Oh.
It's like slapping your
She's-
arm, right?
and she sort of steps and goes, however, those cards that we brought, there's currently some use of them underway, and it is, how should we say, giving us an opportunity to do what we need to do. I hate to say this, but this is probably go time.
Oh, fuck. Well, we have Vic's managed to get access.
Let's use it. We got everything we need.
All
We need
right.
to make a stop. We need to go by the locker, pick up this information on the way.
Okay. Where you want us to meet you?
And she'll describe where they are and she'll go, but you probably want to line up, I don't know, a way to drop through the levels when the time comes. Why don't you see if you can get Cry already down there?
That'll be a big thing. That will certainly raise some alarms. Just to tell you the scale of taking an actual big spaceship up by that level versus taking like a one man.
Yeah.
No, I just meant that Cry should be like available to us when we finally get down
Okay.
there. Does that make any sense?
When we need her, I can have Cry there.
Okay. Sounds fun.
All right. We'll be there as soon as we pick up our package. Oh, fuck, Vic.
I told you.
I
This
think
place, it's not real. Nothing's here is real.
Nothing's real anywhere, Vic. Come on now. Just focus. Mission. Let's get this done and get the hell out of here.
let's take 5. Take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll cut to you 4 together with the heist, and we'll do the approach roll. And oh wait, wrong game. We'll get all that set.
We took a recorded break this time.
It's a 5-minute break. People can handle that.
They can
That brief
handle it.
break.
That lets them go and pee
Small
as well.
meditation.
Yeah. I have been trying to be better about
You have been really good.
doing that. I haven't yet messed up. This would be a chance for me to say, hey, if anyone hasn't checked out the Gauntlet blog, you should check that out. There's a great 2-part series I wrote on Night's Black Agents that's up there. The first part was 1,500 words, and then the second part ended up being 3,000.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Aren't you Mr. Prolific?
Did not mean for that second half to be twice as long as the first half, because that's not what halves are. But there we go.
Sounded like it was a really cool series.
It was, and I learned a lot of things about running mysteries and communicating game goals, I think, in some ways. So we take up with the group outside of this arcology facility. We're a couple of levels up. Annalise, you've been up here scouting the area. You and Forte can get Wraith and Vic close to the facility, avoiding being spotted, anything like that. Wraith's scarf helps conceal, and you have some access codes to get in to essentially the research portion of the facility.
Can we get a hold of one of those decks as we go? I assume these people are in more than one place, but we know where there was at least that one person.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think
I would just ask, kind sir, if we could borrow a few of those cards. I'm thinking you have some extras by now.
well, he does say I do have an extra deck,
Yes,
which
sir.
I could sell you.
All right. What is the price?
That is 1 credit.
Oh, you may have it, and I'll give him 2. See? It's not the only thing that replicates.
So he'll hand you a full deck.
All right. I will take it. I'm in a much better mood now.
So Annalise, the access codes and the way in for this scientific thing, what do you think that is? Do you imagine it's like a loading dock? Do you imagine it's workers' doors? Do you imagine it's the front door? What kind of keys have you been given here, you think?
So I expect that this is very similar to the public area that we saw before, where people come in and they trade items, and this is a very much a open air kind of thing. And then these keys are sort of like staff keys to get past the main area.
Oh, okay. So within a little bit, with the access codes, essentially some of them respond to the ambient veil around here and let you through, and eventually you're back in this research facility, and it's a big place. People live here, work here, and do their various researches here. You can tell already that there are several different sort of security levels and things that happen in this place. But now, Annalise, you're closer to your target. Do you want to try to trace again?
Of course. That's always a good idea. I think that putting some of these clues together, I hadn't been back in this area because this is past the public area.
Oh yeah. You only got in here because of the material that Vic brought you.
So I think now's the time to see if I can't smell anything in the veil. And this, let's see. I think this is, right now I think this is still fear, because I know I'm being hunted, and hunting someone myself reminds me of that. So
Absolutely.
that's a +1. That is an 8.
That is an 8. So choose 2.
Let's see. So I think it'll be discern the next step on the path and then not take the following negative tags until I find out what I'm looking for.
Okay. So I think that you have the materials, you have a connection to the veil, and I think we see you like trying to find some pings, like you're hitting this thing and you're trying to find an echoing ping, and I think you will get a ping in the system that will pull up essentially corporate office for one Crew Alak. And it pings there.
I think what we actually see on screen is it's sort of like in the Tom Cruise Minority Report where you see all the ads pop up for someone
Mhm.
else because he switched eyes. It's kind of that. We switched IDs, so we start seeing, welcome, Mr. Alak. Your door is this direction, and we will clear we will call the elevator for you before we get there. And
That seems reasonable. You've got a name and you've got a person, and you can head on up there. I think I want someone to roll risk now that you're inside. Since I know Forte will be doing the clipping, maybe Wraith or Vic wants to kind of handle keeping an eye out.
I think I will. Vic, you seem to be dealing with a lot.
Got a lot on your plate.
So I'm going to okay, this is what we do. So I'm gonna roll with power. I'm feeling this is our thing. All right. Fucking whore. Oh, sorry, that was a terrible expletive. But I rolled snake eyes.
Oh,
So 3.
So 3.
That took away our kid-friendly rating, didn't it?
I always make sure that none of these videos are set for made for kids. So the good news is you get to mark XP.
Oh, good.
The bad news is you are up in the hallway, and you can see down to where Crew Alox is. Kind of have popped up. You guys are keeping it careful, things like that. And a guy with a couple of bodyguards steps out, and he's looks up, and he matches the ident for Krulak, and he's down the hallways a ways, and you see him look down the hallway, and he locks eyes with Forte, and he screams, "Clipper!" And the other two guys go for their guns.
I would like to use wired reflexes, wired synapses.
Okay, that's why you've got it.
That's right.
You got your target and a couple of wired bodyguards. Let's have you do that.
Yeah. So I think what we see on screen is Annalise kind of steps out of the shadows and takes off down the hallway, closing the distance, and pulls out the sword that she had. This is the handle that what's the right word? That extracts and has a translucent blade, and bounces off one of the walls. And I'm going to strike at one of the bodyguards.
Okay, so this is neutralize.
Yes. And I think this is with power.
And it's like a shot. You haven't seen Annalise move as fast as this. It's just a blur.
And that is a 13.
That is a 13. You take no harm, and you get 3.
how much harm would it take to take one of these? Can I select multiple times?
Yes. You think that an extra inflict on this guy will probably drop him. So your standard harm plus an inflict will drop this guy, even though he's an armored bodyguard.
Yeah, I think that's definitely
That leaves
more.
you with two hold then.
An extra. So I do one for inflict, and then a second one would take them out.
So no, by default you do harm without spending hold, and then if you take one of your picks to do more harm, essentially inflict harm, that counts as one. You still got 2 picks left, and one of them's on the floor.
Great. So then the second thing I'm gonna do is force a change of location, and I'll choose the location for both of those hold.
Okay.
And you said that we were walking on the hallway with that office.
Yeah, the office is at the end. He's kind of stepped out from a side door with the 2 bodyguards.
Yeah,
like
and
maybe coming out of the restroom.
And I think the force of change of location is back in the office.
Okay, so essentially, now, so I imagine that you go through. This guy is stepped forward, and then his head is rolling on the floor. His body is hitting, and then with a turn, kick, push, you smash them through the office door, and you go tumbling in.
Perfect.
Vic, what do you do?
Vic almost gets this like relieved look on her face as that's it. That's the answer to all of the fear. I just have to be someone who fits in and someone who's dangerous and someone who will make me safe. So she begins trying to reflect the other bodyguard.
Okay, then let's have you roll that.
And I think this is time
So
for
you're
nonsense.
effectively you're running up to that office to kind of get him isolated to do that.
Yeah. Following down the hallway after Annalise
or are you
found it.
reflecting on the bodyguard that's dying in the middle of the hall that's by himself?
I'm not that desperate yet.
Okay.
And I think this is Vic trying desperately to reach for a source of peace. So I think this is time to go hard alleviate with a -2.
So which is
That is unpredictable. That is very predictably a 3.
so tell me
5 minus 2 is 3.
which of your spiked states are you clearing?
She was going for the power that would give her peace, so I think that dumps out. So power is no longer spiked.
You go running in, and when you hit that door and try to go, there is that moment where you hear the butter, and he's hit the floor. You come over towards him, and then he has dropped 3 shots in you.
Oh.
Do you have any armor?
No.
Then mark 3 harm.
Wow.
Now, one of the options in this game is to take a permanent scar or trauma to negate the damage from a hit.
Is there a mechanical consequence for injury other than closer to death and hard to heal?
No, there's no mechanical consequence for injury right now.
I do still think I'm going to go with trauma, though, because even with a miss on reflection, I still get a choice.
Yeah.
I I'm going for any enhancements that he possesses. So I think Vic gets like generally larger and bulkier, but doesn't look much like him.
How about if you take his dermal armor, and we'll reduce his the harm you take by 1.
That sounds nice.
And I imagine that the blast, even as you're morphing, even as you're taking that on, and then you take that hit, and both of you are splayed out on the floor of this beautiful big office. Very nice oak table, all that kind of stuff.
But this terror and this sort of botched in the middle reflection will cause I think we go with humanity harm.
Okay.
It's fine.
And what are you taking as your thing for humanity harm?
I think a flashback.
Sure. You rolled what? A 1 and a 4, so you'll put 3 ticks
Oh, jeez.
if you take that. But you get
No, I don't
full-
even know how a spike out in peace would feel right now. So yeah, let's go with lose time. Vic is having a hard time processing all of this at once.
Roll. Okay. Forte.
Rafe, can you get the other guard?
On it.
And she will beeline for crew.
What does it look like? What do we see on screen here? We haven't really seen Forte in full attack mode.
No, and it is not like Annalise is sort of that pumped up super speed thing. What you get from Forte is, how do you say, more like she isn't ethereal and quick. She is, it's like you see her coming, she's heavy, she's athletic, and she won't be stopped. So there's a sort of juggernaut to her, even though she's a smallish person, she's just like, she has the legs that are like responsive, and everything is sort of heavy, and it's like she's moving fast, but it's a athletic, this person is going to break your spine, not this person is going to, take your head off with a quick swick of a blade.
All right. Let's have you roll neutralize.
All right. Let's see. I just want to check and make sure if there's not anything. There's a bunch of stuff that happens when I trigger it, but
most importantly, you always get +1 hold to your neutralize.
yes. And I have a +1 on these guys, the special +1. So I actually have a +2.
A second hold?
Yeah, I had a second hold from before that was for the targets, I think is what it was.
Oh, so that'll be +1 to the roll, and then you get 1 additional hold on your neutralize roll.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, that's that roll. That's that move.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's have you roll neutralize.
Okay. I had another special hold, but that's cool. I'll just leave that off and we'll use it for something else. Okay. So I'm going to use power.
Okay.
So that's 2d6 + 2. So that's a 12.
That is a 12. So you have 4 hold. You inflict harm, and you take no harm in the doing.
Oh, awesome. That sounds excellent.
What does that look like?
It really looks like there's that whole thing of when she comes up, she grabs his head, and it's like it's right there in her hands, and she has it. You know how when we grab the cat to give him pills? That sort of thing of he can't move because she sort of grabbed him right underneath his chin, and she's got her elbows like into his ribs so he can't move. And she's holding him very tight. She goes, if you move, that could really botch things up.
And
And then,
yes,
let's see here. Let's see what that neutralize move lets me do. I think I am just supposed to essentially, cause see, now here's the thing is that when I do the neutralize, I choose like how much of it I'm turning into physical harm. The rest of it I turn into clipping, right? When I do the clipping move. So,
you choose whether inflicting harm clips them. Yeah.
okay.
So you'll
Yeah, so I'm gonna clip.
so let's say one hold to like do the strategic like rip out that you want.
Right. And here's the thing is it's that sort of force a change of location, I think is what you use when you say you want to be super precise. I am literally doing the courtesy of just being super precise for that
So
thing
essentially, you're probably taking this day plus all of the work they've done for the
Yeah.
company.
as specified by Frau.
Yeah.
Like if she said this one thing, so she takes anything that has to do with that. If there's stuff that isn't involved in that, she leaves it. His
Yeah.
family, coworkers he knows, that kind of stuff.
It's a knife. It's precise. It's gone, and his eyes just get wide, and he just kind of that's an overload. His brain is trying to reprocess for that, and his neurochip is like spinning, and you can just drop him to the ground as he goes, briefly catatonic.
Okay. Yeah. And then I sort of step away and I think he should be okay. We should get to the other guy because then I got a lot of cleaning to do.
I'll assume that the other pick you do is freak out your opponent because he sees his boss. He's trying to get up to get this, and he sees his boss get wiped.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what this is, and he sees it happen, and he knows he is getting fired. A Wraith. This guy has laid some shots into Vic, is getting up, and looks like they're going to try and do something involving dealing harm here.
All right. I think there's kind of this, I certainly don't have the speed or the unstoppable force of my two comrades. But I think we see me moving like forward. And as I move, I'm reaching in, I'm pulling out my new pistol, pistol, and I'm going to kind of step to where I'm over Vic and protecting her as I taking aim, and there is the very quiet sound, since it is a silent gun, of this free electron laser pistol firing into them. And I think because of Vic being hurt, I'm pretty pissed. So that's mad.
Okay.
I'm getting close to a spike.
Ooh. I'm sorry. Oh, come on.
Oh, thank goodness. A 7.
A 7. So on a 7, you have 2 hold.
And will take harm in the doing. So, I do 2 harm with the pistol automatically. I suppose automatically, right? I don't have to spend inflict harm to do base harm.
Base harm, yeah. That you'll deal base harm with the 2 harm with that, yeah.
And that's not going to take him down, though, will it?
No, because he's got thermal.
Okay. Then I'm going to spin the other 2 into inflict harm.
So butta, putting that into him. So that'll be a total of 4 harm minus 1. So that will drop him. But there is that moment when you turn and it's just an exchange of gunfire there between the 2 of you. Mark 3 harm.
All right.
Do you have armor?
I don't, but Can I do a catalyze to try and, because my enhancements are my hardened skin to handle G-force. Can I catalyze to see if that'll reflect into armor?
Interesting. I like that. Yeah. What
Alright.
what a cool idea.
Thank you. So I'm going to think I'm going to use power on that.
Yeah.
And okay, that's an 8. So I'm going to have complications of that. But I will get some armor. How much armor do you figure that is? 1,
Oh,
2.
you know, you're taking the risk for this. So we'll drop it down by 2. So you just take 1 harm.
Take a light. But I think what sort of weapon is he using?
He is using a heavy needler pistol.
Ooh, oh, that's perfect.
Like
So
like it's not your standard needler. It's definitely punch through things kind of.
Okay, I think then as we see the multiple shots of the needler hit me, we see where it hits my skin rather than it exactly penetrating. We see these hairline fractures come across my skin, almost spider webbing everywhere it hits. And then we begin to see the flow of the blood just coming through it. And there's almost a glass shattered look to my skin where it's hit.
And I think that when you do that and reduce that harm, it stiffens up like that, but then it doesn't let go. Like it stays that way, and you can feel the bits of it rubbing against one another and biting into your flesh. Like you don't want to run because you might really hurt yourself. Does that seem like a fair consequence?
Yep.
But this guy drops, and I think that's the point at which this has happened in the matter of a few seconds that we hear the of the door try to close, but it's gotten smashed, so it's kind of hanging off its thing, and then it's real quiet in here.
And I think
Vic like whimpering and crying on the ground, huddled under Reef's feet there.
And I think Annalise basically steps up and goes, "Oh, good times. We're halfway there," and goes, reaches out a hand to Vic to pull them up and say, "Let's get on it. We've got 1 more. Is that right?
2 more.
2 more. We've got 2 more. We're a third of the way there. Let's go."
I think Vic sort of needs to be carried along until she comes back to herself.
Yeah. You will also note that the security system is noting the discharge of firearms in the building.
Okay, let's see here. And we have those cards with us. If I shuffle those around, does it sort of change where look like they're coming from?
Well, this is the computer, like the
Okay.
local sort of security system in the building that is going to be dispatching more commonplace security to get to this area. So
Then we should leave.
okay.
I think we have access to this gentleman's computer.
Yeah.
Now's a good time for us to find where our other 2 marks are.
Let's have you roll trace.
Oh yeah.
I will reload my pistol.
And I'm gonna do that with power because that was
I
pretty
will
cool.
bleed.
So that is a 9.
Okay. Does somebody want to help to boost that up to a full-on 10 plus?
Sure.
Forte, what are you doing to assist in this computer accessing?
Question. I think, that thing is right now I have the residue. So I kind of know what his login is and everything. And it's
Oh.
like making me itchy, but I'm like, yeah. Password is just kind of like, oh, like she's trying to shake it off and it makes her feel disgusting, but she tells you everything you need to know to get through his.
Okay. So let's have you roll.
Okay, so this is probably fear or just, what, disgust is probably what, under sadness?
Yeah, that seems right.
Okay, I'm just sure. It's, yes, she's
I
in
can check the
disgust
wheel.
mode. Yeah, I think it would be. So 2d6 plus 2.
Yep.
So that's a 10 to
That
assist.
so perfect. So you will find that the next two targets are Alextra Koja and Solman Raxman. And they're scientists that are up working in a lab.
Oh, excellent. I love labs. They're always full of cheery, fun things. Can I help Vic?
So let's look at how harm works at the end. Oh, of course, I immediately closed the wrong thing. Drive. I believe that the light wounds go away at the end of the combat, if I recall correctly. But any severe wounds will stay.
At the end of the combat,
Let's see here. Heal.
They're like bruises.
Actually, dual healing. It's not there. No, that's alleviate. Since that's the way I said it, that's what we're gonna do. So right now, erase your light wounds because you guys can dermal patch and pull out med stuff and stop that. Any severe wounds you
Alright.
have marked will stay.
So I have one severe wound.
Yeah. So that is hurting like hell right now. Where did you get hit?
I think it was in the shoulder and like right at the bottom of her rib cage. And I think it's that one on her ribs that's the severe wound.
And I think it takes you guys will see that, throw the patch on. It's a bit before Vic kind of comes back from that lost time,
Okay.
right?
then I mean, there's no doubt who we need to keep free to do combat. So I think I'll lean down and y'all can probably hear like the scraping, this high plastic scraping sound as I bend over and pick up Vic and kind of support her as we begin moving.
And I think we will see the montage of you guys moving through the building, following the schematics that you obtained, cutting back and forth until and you can hear on the lower level security and things, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and you will hit this lab. And we'll open up. You can see that as you go in, there are 4 people at different stations working. You can see that they've got various terminals and computers and things, and they're doing stuff. You can see that there are banks of people in tubes. You can see that they're clearly like doing some kind of, how do I put this, sensory deprivation kind of tank things is what it looks like, but you can see through to them. There are probably a dozen people there. And you'll see these 2 people. You have idents, so we'll grab pictures for them.
Okay. So we can see who we're going to clip.
Yes.
They're probably lovely people.
Word.
Well,
What-
that's why it's so important that you leave the rest of them alone if you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What happened, Rafe? Did we get it? Or did we win?
We're about there. Just hold together. you and I took a couple of shots, but Annalise and Forte took them down. We got the two here in sights. It's about time for us to leave. Just hold on.
Is that my blood?
It is.
Oh,
You're gonna be fine. It's not that serious. You'll be okay.
it says on my sheet that it's serious.
You can't trust that. That's just a paper cut.
It's just a paper cut.
We don't even know what paper is anymore.
It's probably like a thrown around phrase that people use
And
when
it's like,
they.
how could a paper plate cut you?
Vic, I have a question for you.
Hey, hi, what's up?
How do you know Salmon and how does he fit into your memories?
Oh, give a look at him.
Is he your love? Is he someone that kept you from your love? Is he just a figure in the background? What is he?
It's cute in a skeezy sort of way.
um, yeah, I mean, why not go straight to it? I think I can see myself reflected in those glasses, getting further and further away, falling away from them.
And the thing that will strike you is his hands are open. You can't quite tell if he tried to save you or he let go or what, but I think he turns and he goes, Victoria? What do you do, Annalise? You are the wired reflexes, and then I'm going to go to Forte.
So you said that our two marks are here, and there were two other people.
Yeah, the two other scientists who are working at various stations.
Right.
They,
So I
they
think-
clearly look like they're the juniors.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to so I've forgotten his name. It looks like Solomon is distracted from recognizing.
Yeah, like he
yeah.
looks genuinely shocked.
So in that case, I'm going to move towards Electra,
Okay.
and in a threatening manner, and I'm going to basically divert to give Forte a chance to go after whichever one she wants to, and see if I can help with that. So
Sure.
they see me as the threat and not her.
What's the gesture you make to like are you breaking something? Are you parkouring in the room? Are you just acrobatic tumbling over? What is it? What do we see?
I think that we see that sword whip out and is at like one of their face, right? Like
Okay.
in a threatening manner.
Do you feel like this is divert or ultimatum?
So I do not plan on killing them.
Okay.
Would that
If
be an
it-
ultimatum?
Yeah, it's only an ultimatum if you're willing to carry out your thing. So otherwise it's divert.
Yeah. And what am I gonna roll that with? It's probably either joy or power. I think it's gonna be power.
Okay.
And I got a 7.
Okay. Pick two.
So I want to open an opportunity for Forte,
Okay.
and they become confused or flustered.
Okay. So I think these two interns that might have done something are like freaked out. And I think Forte, you have an opportunity to go after Electra or Solomon.
How into Solomon and figuring out what's going on is Vic right now, because she's
She's just still kind of shaking off that lost time. And now, I mean, what is the expression on your face, Vic?
Be like locked eyes fixated.
So I go for Alexstra.
Okay.
So it's that thing of, I know that it's dangerous to Vic, but if I try to get in the way of it, there will be no forgiveness ever.
Then let's have you roll neutralize.
Okay.
Being so much nicer than
plus
Vic is
2.
about to deserve.
2d6 plus 2. So that's a 14.
That is a 14. So once again, you have 4 hold,
Just
inflict
clean. It's
harm,
clean
and take no
quiet.
harm.
Yeah, it's just clean and quiet. I mean, it's like, it's almost gentle. Like, she puts her hand on the back of her head and she goes, it's not so bad.
I think one of the things that will strike you when you do this, there is a force like you've never felt before, but it didn't have a chance to get focused. And it reminds you a little bit of Vic. And you think she has some kind of psychic power or something that you like punch through.
Mhm.
And then she's on the floor. Wraith, you see that Vic is what do you do, Wraith?
What I need to have is our escape.
Okay.
So we're handling shit. The person stuff can't be getting in the way. So I'm trying to look to figure out where is our quickest access out so we can be picked up.
Okay. That seems like a risk roll.
To figure out where
Yeah, like we know what you want to do. We know it's possible. This is you're getting the escape in motion.
Okay. All right. Then I suppose I'm rolling with fear.
Okay.
There. Come on. Hey, it's an 8.
It is an 8. So I imagine we see you pulling up the schematics, grabbing the veil, running through that. You've got the like window, like meeting room that looks out over the ocean that you can kick through, and you've got like one of the flyers, like one of the single man flyers with grab-ons on it that is getting bumped up to try and catch you guys if you kick out through that window. Does that seem fair?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, is the flyer?
It's in the like you probably have that in the area. I imagine you would have done that.
Okay, so it can remote fly or something.
Oh yeah, well you can remote fly it most assuredly.
Well, I don't have a confluence with it like I do with.
Oh, but no, I mean I'm talking just normal pilot stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then okay. Yeah. Then we're bringing it there because and we've got to. I mean, we're planning on leaving planet immediately, right?
Mm-hmm. I imagine you're telling Cry to.
That's because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be spinning a hold so I can do my cross connect.
Uh-huh.
I am therefore it pulls up. I get a dual HUD as though I'm exactly in the pilot seat for my cross connect, and that's when I radio into tower. Cry Havoc leaving out. We're going to be heading off planet. Thank you much for the visit and taking off now.
Your 3-day birth charges are non-refundable.
Understood.
We'll see that you taking off, kind of pulling away, so you're not going to make too much noise when this thing comes in. But Vic.
Hey. Hi. I think Vic, she hasn't, like, her head has swiveled. She hasn't stopped looking at Solomon this whole time, except for now as she turns to look directly in Rafe's eyes and says, I'm sorry. And I want to try and sling.
Okay. And what do you want to roll that with?
This is a weird one where I roll plus flow that I'm assuming I'm getting rid of, but
Yep.
I don't know how that interacts with the spike out, but either way it'd be a +1.
Yep.
So is this going to alleviate anything or not?
No.
Okay. Then let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, that's an 11.
Okay. What is it you want to do?
I spike out fear in everyone in the room, us and them, except for Solomon. And I want to break away from Rafe, run to Solomon, and tell him we have to get out of here, you're in danger, and try and get him away.
Would everybody please spike fear on their character sheets?
I'm so sorry. I love you all.
You run up to him. He like there's a sort of a visible wave in some ways of this psychic power going off, and Salma's eyes get wild when he sees you do this, and he seems super excited. Yes, and grabs on to try and start to run with you out of here. Annalise, what do you do? Looks like Vic is trying to and you've got fear burrowing at the back of your head, but Annalise, you do see Vic running off with the target. The target of your hunt.
Yeah. I think that's a hard one. Let me think about that for just a second. I think I need to do something, which would be, oh. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to analyze or probe Vic, and I'm going to do this in this flash moment using Memory House.
Okay.
Right, so it's like a frozen moment in time,
Oh,
and
geez.
suddenly we real quickly get through this process.
I like it.
And is this study someone? I don't think I can use analyze on a person, so I think I'll do probe.
Yeah.
And I'll do this with fear, of
You
course,
have to do with fear. So you'll roll with a +1,
right,
and it'll go down by 1.
So I got an 11.
So you have 3 hold.
And the questions are, what do you intend to do?
Let's start with that, Vic.
Get him away from Forte.
How could I get you to complete the mission?
This is because I think what she's feeling here. She's confused about her emotions towards Solomon, but she has locked into that, like, this is part of her memories, and this is a part of her memories that she doesn't have. So she is just like, she's terrified that Forte is going to cut out the piece of her that's sitting in Solomon's head. So, like, I don't know what it is, but reassuring her or approaching her on that path.
Okay. So I had a question in mind that wasn't on the probe list, and let me see if I can articulate it again. Okay. So one direction would be for me to tell you how good Forte is at clipping, and that nothing would be missing except for this job, and the fact that we showed up if that's what's needed. But the question that's not on the probe list that I'd like to ask, and tell me if this is okay, Lowell, is what would you give up for Solomon?
I like that. That's an interesting one.
Right now, anything.
Ooh.
She'd give up her stake in the job. She'd give up anything she owns. She would try and fight off Forte.
Would she give up herself?
I mean, yeah, that's what she's
Wow.
after here.
That's a pretty big thing. Okay.
She's pretty spiked out.
I
Yeah.
mean, she's running away from the escape plan. You have to know that, like, part of her knows that's probably going to get her caught here.
Yeah. I think Annalise, I think that slows down and that little interaction happens in like a fraction of a second. And there's this little zip of understanding between the two of us. And then I think Annalise basically tumbles into both of you, knocking us all to the ground. And has the statement, says something along the lines of, Forte's good and won't take everything. We need to, we need to trust in each other. And if we don't do this, then we're all kinds of screwed. Not just because of the job and not just because of the Frau, but because of everything here. We are hosed. They're going to take us all, Vic. They're going to take us all.
Please, not here. It's too fast. We don't know. She doesn't know what she's doing.
Forte.
Neutralize.
Oh,
Let's have you roll it. Patrick, would you like to hinder? When you act to help or impede another player character, say how you do so. Would you like to impede?
First of all, I actually I've been thinking how useless obligation is in this game, but I actually have 2 obligation on Forte.
You want to call that in?
I would like to try and call that in as she holds her arms up towards Forte as she's coming in, saying, "Take him with us. Do it later."
Forte, would you like to refute?
That's an interesting option. Take him with us. I think she's going to look at Vic and she'll go, okay. And she'll still put her hand on the back of his thing, but all she does is zotch him out.
Wraith, I think you breathe a sigh of relief.
I do.
And I think Vic's just like breaks down into tears at this point. The adrenaline and the fear and all that just happened is too much for her here.
I pick up a chair and slam it through the window.
And
Let's get the fuck out of here.
we will see your plan in action. They follow you down to that meeting room that you've smashed the window. You leap out onto the flyer. Guys, grab on. You grab this guy with you, and there's probably some gunfire in the background. As you fly out to cry. And you're running both things at the same time.
There's a lot going on my HUDs.
But you will get back to Cry Havoc, and that is where we will stop for today. Annalise, which of your questions? How many questions do you think we hit there?
So, how does Orange interact with scientists? I think we hit that.
Yep.
So that's one. And I mean, the others, I don't think you get anything extra from them.
Well,
I
you
think
get
that-
you get a point per question that you
Oh,
answer.
do you?
Yeah.
Well,
So
okay.
I think number 3, yes, maybe not number 2.
Oh, true. Yes.
Yeah.
With what Forte just did, what we saw, that's very good.
So 2 for that, and then I don't think you necessarily followed your conditioning there, because you didn't treat Vic, and this whole thing is very transient, did you?
So I started to, whenever we were in the other room, it was like, brush it off, let's just do it. But once I spiked out on fear, I didn't.
Okay.
You're right.
So I'm not going to give you an XP for that, but you will
Yeah.
get 2 XP for the questions.
Yeah.
Victoria.
I think we definitely saw a lot about or how Araj runs things and the emotions that they inspire in people.
Yep.
I think I'm holding the link to that second one here in
Yep.
my hands.
So that's 2.
That was actually that conversation with Azizi about the imprints and what Araj is doing there.
Yeah.
That was fascinating.
Yeah. So we'll say 3 on that.
I think I broke my first conditioning.
I was going to say yes. So you're not going to get XP for your conditioning today, and we'll talk about what the implications are of breaking your
Yeah,
conditioning next time.
I really don't know what the choice will be there, but I'll figure it out over the next week.
Sure. Forte, questions?
Well, not the first, didn't get a chance to get to the water. But what Forte knows about the veil that others don't seem to tap into is that you can pretty much use it as a counter to everything everyone uses the veil for. Just like, oh, we're being traced, well then they'll catch everyone.
It contains the seeds of its own own destruction,
Exactly.
synthesis, antithesis. Okay, so I'll get a point for that.
Mhm.
Let's look at. I assume you're going to destroy the residue. We'll resolve that
Yeah.
next time. So, prioritize the mission above the well-being of a person.
I would have if she hadn't come up with a way to do the mission and still let her have her little way.
Well,
So-
there was before when in the first encounter where Vic got shot all to hell and you ran right past her bleeding on the floor to continue with the mission.
Well, I asked
Yeah, I'll
Rafe
give you
to
a
clean it
point
up.
for the conditioning and a point for the question. So 2 points.
Okay.
Wraith.
I don't think I got any of my questions, so I do think I need something to raise morale for sure on my question 1 at this point.
I think you were pursuing you remember you don't have to answer the question. You just have to pursue them.
So maybe my second one I did pursue.
Yeah. I think you did. And I think actually the whole thing with seeing Cry and seeing another ship, and that sort of ties into the whole shepherding thing. I'm going to give you another
Okay.
point for that.
And I definitely think I explored the unexplored regardless of danger going to
Yeah. I think
going to look into that space
Oh,
to
yeah.
those people.
give you a point for that. Do you mind doing a quick stars and wishes?
Not at all.
Okay. We've got so stars wishes. We've got 2 sessions left. Keeping that in mind. Stephen, can I start with you?
Yeah, sure. I'll start with wishes. Okay, so I'm not going to start with wishes because I'm struggling to figure out any.
Okay, sure.
I'll then move to stars. This was a great session. I really liked that we pulled in obligation into this. That felt really good. And that whole series at the end, Vic, where you said, I'm taking Solomon and we're headed out, and you spiked everybody. That was so beautiful. That was so good. Yeah.
Thank you. It made me nervous to, you know, attacking other players always makes me like, oh God, is this the right choice?
Just remember that Sherry murdered your character at the end of the Hardswell end game, so you know there's that.
That's right. This is all secretly revenge.
We'll come back and see if you have wishes in a second, Stephen. Patrick, stars, wishes.
This was this game. It's amazing. I'm glad I finally found a chance to bring in obligation. I've been meaning to bring it up as a wish thing of like, especially with the way that Inheritance frames you as this like crew of bounty hunters, almost by default. The obligation feels weird. Like I love the obligation questions to set up background between characters, but it almost feels like most or all of your starting obligation should be pointed at NPCs
Mhm.
so that you can actually get use out of it, or it can actually be used against you. Because it's a hard move to pull an obligation on another player.
It has some of the same problems that Urban Shadows sometimes does, where you get a lot of those debts and things, and then you don't get them utilized. But yeah, I was glad to see it pulled out.
Yeah, and this was the perfect like I see what I can do with it here sort of moment. Stars to everyone for going along with my Chaos Monkey bullshit. And stars to Sherry for just the like, I mean, the dice definitely stepped up to help you out, but that image of Forte as this like compassionate precision killer was really interesting. Oh, you're muted.
Eraser.
But you know, it's
Killing is much easier.
But it's that extreme violence, but done so controlled and with care and almost sadness in the moment. Stephen, I loved the how the Trace started to bring in that whole virus, and you working to negotiate and alleviate the situation at the end definitely, I think, saved the whole chaos and made it so much better than just me like running away and we have to split the party or argue about what to do about it. That probe and then your negotiation of what to do was right on. And Tyler, just the whole like idea description of your catalyze at that moment was super cool, and then taking it further with the shattering and the like artificiality and of the body and the uncomfortableness of that consequence little like it was a neat moment. This was cool. Wishes I mean it's more of this situation, obviously digging into it with Solomon and the fallout between Vic and the crew. And I just more of this game. It's so good. I'm not tired of it. I love it. I want it more. I want it always.
Tyler?
Stars first. Stephen, I'm always overwhelmed and just amazed at how you use your character. The way you use your moves is not mechanical. It is so intrinsic and so smooth for the character. It feels so it is so clean and pretty. All through this session, it was just a marvel to watch. It was just lovely, lovely, lovely. And then to, Lowell, with you bringing in and Sherry, I think it's you that set up for us to have it, hearing the, release the hounds, that whole bit of a sequence was really cool, creepy, very scary. I'll echo seeing Forte as that kind of terrifying in full Clipper mode was nice. Seeing you, there was no doubt in my mind you were gonna clip that guy, regardless of what Vic wanted. There was no doubt in my mind, and I thought that was well done. I just nicely done. And Patrick, watching you, it is insanity that you are spiked out in every single state.
Not yet, but I'm trying.
And to just watch you be batshit crazy, you played that. There's no doubt you were a very unstable factor. And that was cool to see the choice to spike us out at that moment. Lowell put it in front of you. It was the right choice. It was well done. It ramped up a whole bunch of stuff. Wishes. I want to delve into what's going on with the memories I've lost. At this point, knowing why they were lost, what it was, is important to me.
Yeah.
And something that we said at the beginning, which was the ship is kind of, it's a little beat down. But there's something hidden. I'm not trying to be terribly precious, but I found a move to make Cry the terrifying thing that I've seen.
Ooh, interesting.
So I want the opportunity to pull it out, and we see Cry as the full death machine she can be.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I was very much hoping that in these last two sessions, we can definitely explore that particular memory line a little bit further too. Sherry.
What everyone else said, y'all were really awesome. And Lowell, you did a really good job with calling back those cards, and making that sort of a bit of chaos that actually ended up helping us. That was super fun. And I really, it felt heisty and pressured, and that was good. So understand, all of you are fabulous, but if I keep on going over it and over it, I'm just being repetitious. You guys are, it, right? I'll just send you your awards in the mail. Okay. Yeah, and wishes. Let's see here. I wouldn't mind if we got something that tied back to Mira, even if we can't be here.
I think that's reasonable. especially since that guy recognized you. So we'll come
It
back. to
might
that.
just be in the residue, but that's, you know,
We will take a look at that stuff next time.
okay.
Thank you all very much. I'm going to stop recording.